Alrighty, welcome back, guys. This is game number 4 here between Nerchio and Tarson. Tarson winning the last game, getting himself back in the series. Right now, Nerchio is ahead 2-1, so Tarson will have to win the next 2 games to win this best-of-5 series. And if Nerchio wins this one, then that is that. So yeah, here we go, guys. Game number 4. This time we are on Shakuris Plateau. We can see the players are in close air positions. I suppose that's what you would call it. I'm not sure. There's probably a better name for that. Now we do have Nerchio moving straight across with that Overlord Scout, so he will be spotting Tarson in just a moment from now, so not too much longer. So while I got the beginning of the game right now and not a whole lot going on, I mean, again, hopefully you guys have enjoyed this series. Just a quick little summarization of the last game. Tarson was just very efficient with his harassing and managed to just be in the right spots at the right time and do enough damage to keep Nerchio on his back feet, keep him continuously producing workers instead of attacking units, and that prevents Nerchio from doing much of any damage, and that's what allowed Tarson to win the game. So that is exactly how we want to see that bio-heavy build played as a Terran player. So again, while I get the beginning of the game here, I did just want to say, you know, there's a whole lot going on. The Diablo 3 beta is coming very, very soon, and if you guys are looking forward to Diablo 3, look forward to a ton of content, because once that comes out, I will be pretty much doubling the amount of content I'm making, keeping up with all the StarCraft content that you see here, but then adding a ton of Diablo content onto that as well. And people may ask, well, Force, how are you planning on doing that? The biggest deterrent for me is actually rendering times, and what I plan to do is actually get a second computer, which will allow me to render technically twice as fast. Instead of just using the one PC to render one program at a time, I'll be able to use 2 PCs, render 2 videos at a time, and because the recording time doesn't take very long, I usually record about 2 to 3 hours. It's really all about the amount of rendering time. So I'm going to be getting a second computer. This is going to help me produce about twice as much content, so get ready, because it's going to be nuts. Tarson coming out with the 2 racks right now. We can see, obviously, holding off in their refinery. This is going to allow him to apply some marine pressure early on in the game and then move into his expansion. So, yes, we'll be opening up two racks marine pressure. Nerchio needs to pull back with this because he's going to be losing that SCV. And there we go, pulling back. He's going to be losing that drone to that SCV, but pulling back just in the nick of time. We do have a continuous marine production. I do expect Tarson to just push forward with those SCVs, as well as those Marines, trying to drop down a bunker, and he's not expecting necessarily to take out this expansion. If it happens, it's great, but if nothing else, he's just trying to force the creation of more Zerglings and hurt Nerchio's economy. And actually, Nerchio moving down with the drone, and I think he'll be trying to go into a third. What is he doing over here? Actually scouting around. SCV moving on over there. Maybe he's just trying to spot where that was going. And actually, the SCV will be going for the bunker in the low ground. Very interesting. All Nerchio has to do is prevent vision of the high ground, and that's going to stop this from being effective at all. So we'll see what ends up happening here. Marine micro on back. Those drones will be moving forward to get us around. Nothing that Marine can do right now. He's got a buddy moving up to help him out. And actually, there we go. 2 Marines. That will be enough. So I don't know about this from Tarson. Again, this can be effective, but as long as Nerchio just prevents vision of the high ground, then there's really nothing that this bunker is going to do for him. So we got a couple of Zerglings moving down to get us around, as well as those drones. That spine crawler is just finished, and it looks like this marine pressure has pretty much been stopped right now. The Zerglings moving forward, and there we go, salvaging that bunker, pulling back with those Marines. Tarson's opening harass not effective this game, although he still has got these Marines now, so he's okay. He's going to be able to defend himself. Might possibly come down with a bunker as well. Move right on into that expansion, and he should be all set. So even though he didn't do a ton of damage, being Marine heavy, especially before those Speedlings are in play, it's just very, very strong. And actually, look at these Marines. Should be shredding through those Zerglings. The Zerglings, as Nerchio is well aware, in a very rough spot against that amount of Marines, so deciding to just pull back at the same time. He will be grabbing the 2 towers right now, giving him a clear indication whether or not Tarson pushes out for a secondary push. Sometimes you will see, opening up with that 2 racks pressure with a few Marines. You see that followed up by a heavy Marine push. Usually not even with upgrades, but throwing some more SCVs as well. So grabbing those towers will make it so that Nerchio is aware if that does happen, and that will allow him to prepare. Besides that, though, I do expect Nerchio to just drone up at this point. He's got his queens coming on through. Would be interested to see when he does decide to move into his 3rd expansion, and that, of course, will likely be placed over here as opposed to here. This position just a little bit vulnerable, a little bit closer to his opponent Tarson, given his current location. The Overlord pulling back right now. That 1 Marine just kind of shooting him a little bit in the face, and the Overlord saying, I've had enough of that. Time to walk back home. We got another racks coming on up over here. Factory coming through. And is that a second factory? Yes, it is. Very interesting. Let's take a look at what the transition here for Tarson ends up being. Now again, a lot of times this is followed up with a Marine tank, but the Marine tank seems to possibly be falling out of vogue, at least for Tarson here, because he hasn't been going for that at all. He might be again going for those Blue Flame Hellions. We will have to just wait and see, but Marine tank isn't something he's done really so far in this series, so I wouldn't be surprised if he didn't do it here either. So we have a couple of Marines sitting over here, possibly to try to grab an Overlord if it tries to pull on over. But no, this will be heading on back for some front wall defense over here. Back over here for Nerchio, what does he have going on? Got a Roach Warren up, coming through with that lair. Still hasn't moved into his third. So I really do hope he does that soon, because 2-base Zerg against 2-base Terran, really not looking too good for the Zerg player if that ends up lasting for too very long. So we do want to see Nerchio move out sometime soon, hopefully into that third. Otherwise, we would want to see him push out and try to do some damage. And here we go. The Blue Flame Hellions will be the follow-up here, and I don't see a starport yet, so it doesn't look like he's going to be moving right into that drop initially. Might actually just be going for a push with this. So the Blue Flame Hellion push. We are a little bit of a supply block here. The depot's got a little while longer. Oh, there we go. That was finally alleviated there. So let's take a look back over here for Nerchio. I do want to see what his plans are. Again, that layer is about finished. We do have that spawning pool coming out with that Metaball boost, which is just about finished as well. And there is that evolution chamber. So we may be seeing a timing push here from Tarson, moving out with those Blue Flame Hellions, plus those Marines right there. No upgrades for those Marines just now. Getting a Tech Lab there on that Rax. We do finally have that Starport coming into play as well. So we'll, of course, be moving in eventually into those medevacs, but how soon is really the question. There we go, Nerchio finally coming out with this third expansion over here. Zerglin's moving across the map, and did he take out these rocks? Yes, he did. So he grabbed the rocks over here for a future date, possibly for a future expansion. Zerglin moving on up. He wants to see what's going on. Actually managed to sneak right under that Rax as it lifted up, and here comes the push right now from Tarson. He's actually just moving with those Blue Flame Hellions first. We'll be getting a bit of map control, and here we go. See you later, Zergling. Should be moving down to this one over here as well. We do have a few roaches over here. A few more coming out right now, seeing those Hellions. The infestation pit just about finished, and again, there's that third, and the see you later, Zergling's taken out by those Hellions without issue. Here comes the big push right now. Now that he has cleared the towers, we're going to be seeing Tarson move across the map with these Blue Flame Hellions plus all these Marines. Keep in mind, again, the Marines are not upgraded, but let's see how much damage he can do right now. Needs to use those Hellions to keep any Zerglings at bay, although it doesn't look like Nerchio does have a lot of Zerglings at all. In fact, he doesn't have any at all, just sitting right now with those Roaches. So none of these units do particularly well against those Roaches. The Marines going to want to try to add their high DPS to the situation. Unfortunately, those Hellions are very bad against the Roaches indeed, and this is such a Roach-heavy army. He's going to be tearing through those Hellions and then start making some work here on these Marines, microing back some of those low health Roaches. Some very nice micro there from Nerchio. Tarson can't really do the same just because those Marines have such low hit points, and look at how quickly those Roaches were able to mop up everything that Tarson had. Taking a look at those units lost there. That's tough stuff for Tarson right now. We have a Hellion moving on through. We'll be scouting out this expansion, but he does end up losing his life to this Roach. At least he should be. Roach should be able to catch on up. One more shot there, and there you go. Roach is trying to move forward for a counterattack, not able to break that wall. We do have this tank play coming on through. Is he done? No, he hasn't gotten siege tech yet, so hopefully he starts researching that sometime soon. That was certainly very nice there by Nerchio, though. He stopped that push dead in its tracks, and Tarson wasn't able to do much damage. We'll take another look at the units lost tab. We can see right now such a huge advantage right now for Nerchio. Tarson lost so many units due to that push, lost so many resources due to that push. The third expansion right now for Nerchio is up and saturated. Might be seeing a fourth, and yes, we are. So Nerchio will be moving into this expansion for his fourth base right now, and that is, of course, why he broke down those rocks right there, opting to move into here before actually moving up into an expansion over there. Getting that there, nice and saturated. Roaches sitting out front. We do have some infestors coming into play. Do we have any in play already? We've got one in play. 4 more coming on through. Another queen coming out as well, and that's actually popping right over there. We should be seeing another queen getting ready to move over here for once that hatchery does finish. Looks like Tarson will be moving out with some attempted drop harass right now. First taking care of the overlord over there, and then moving right up into the main. And at the same time, he'll be moving with this medevac over here, and this may actually be a free kill at this base. I think he might be walking right in that direction. But here comes a drop right now. First going down with one Marine, stimming up, and then dropping with the rest. will be spawning this expansion, so he should be able to drop on that and take it out. There are a few Zerglings here. He just needs to be careful about that. And dropping the Queen over here as well. Then Tarson picking up and heading back home. So Tarson trying to make up for the losses that he took in that first big engagement and just trying to get a few kills here and there. And he's going to get this free Overlord, it looks like. I'm not sure that Nerchio is going to be able to pull away in time. And there you go. Actually, wow, just barely missing it. We have those infestors coming through. He needs to be careful about those fungal growths. What is going on here? Neither of these guys paying attention to that drop right now. And there's the fungal growth finally allowing the speedlings to move on forward. And the second fungal growth taking out the rest of those Marines. The Marauder will be able to be lifted up though. Tarson over here moving into his third. Is that going to be a planetary? Yes, it is. Dropping down a few more refineries as well. Finally switching into some tank play. We do have got Hive Tech coming out as well as that Spire, though. Nerchio looking to move up into some Broodlords, and that's a little concerning because I'm not sure Tarson will have what is necessary to deal with it. I don't think he's got no Vikings right now. Will want to start to work into Vikings. That's going to be his only method of actually being able to deal with what's about to come out right now. So the Spire is actually hidden over here, and this isn't a base that we've seen Tarson harass yet. So actually trying to move right up in the main right now with those Speedlings and Roaches and a big fungal growth on all of that bio. Dropping some infested Terrans right here will force splash damage against those tanks. You can see Tarson responding by unsieging there. That was pretty effective though. He took out the one tank and did quite a bit of damage to those tanks as well, just with a few infested Terrans. Nice little engagement there for Nerchio. A good job on Tarson for defending himself, starting to even things up. In fact, Nerchio is a little bit behind right now. But again, here comes that Spire, that Hive just about to be finished. And we will be seeing those Broodlords come into play. And this is something that, we really need Nerchio to, hide the fact that he's going for this. And Tarson really does need to scout this out. Trying to engage near that planetary fortress. That wasn't the best of decisions. I think he may have dropped a fungal, though, and got a bit of damage off. And another fungal growth going down. Another fungal growth. Yes, another fungal going down. And oh no, that splash damage on those infestors and losing the rest of those infestors. He dropped another fungal though just before losing the rest of his units. So finally Tarson seeing that clear advantage and going with this tank play over those infestors. And that of course is the fact that he's able to deal with that just a little bit better. He has a much better chance dealing with infestors when he does have a nice tank line like that. One problem though is that with this play, with tank heavy, he's got a huge problem against those Broodlords, and those Broodlords will be coming, make no doubt about it. We can see right now that Greater Spire about 50% of the way finished, so Nerchio getting ready to move right on into those Broodlords, and that's going to be a very tough situation for Tarson. We have Tarson trying to move out and get another drop done. I don't know, even if he takes out this hatchery, I don't know. He's still going to be in a very rough spot right now. Again, he's just not prepared. He hasn't scouted out, and he doesn't know that these Broodlords are coming. What Tarson needs to do is he needs to, well, scout it out. He needs to be aware of the fact. In fact, let me check his vision. Yeah, he hasn't seen that Spire at all. So that's really his big problem right now. We did have Nerchio try to engage over here, pulling back though because of the tank line. At the same time, Tarson taking out that extractor as well as that Queen, doing a bit of damage here to these Zerglings. Here comes a big strong push right now for Tarson, moving across the map, dropping the scan, taking out those creep tumors, getting a few free creep tumor kills over here, dropping that Queen. Nerchio's in a tough spot. He really needs those Broodlords to come into play to help defend against this big strong push. 2 fungal growths though, dropping so many Marines, and that just goes to show you how strong fungal is against bio right now, especially those Marines. We do have 5 Broodlords coming through, and again, this is just something that Tarson is still not aware of. He still has not scouted the fact that this is coming right now, and that's, man, this is really rough to see in all honesty, because knowing the fact that Broodlords are coming, we're like, oh, Tarson, the proper response is to get this, get some Vikings. But still, Tarson, I mean, kudos to Nerchio. Nerchio's done a great job of hiding this, and this is, again, going to be a huge problem. You might see Marines, but with all these infestors dropping fungals, those Marines aren't going to be able to get up on those Broodlords. And here you go, the Broodlings forcing the splash damage. Tarson needs to unsiege. He's going to be killing his own siege line here if he doesn't. We've got some bio moving over here. That gets quickly overwhelmed, though. The Broodlords taking out these tanks. Watch his 4 splash damage plus the Broodling damage. Tarson just lost all of his tank line right now. Nothing he can do about that. Finally coming out with some double Vikings, seeing the fact that those Broodlords are in play. We've got that Viking moving on down to try to engage with that. We don't have a lot of anti-air here, but we do finally have some Corruptors coming into play, so hopefully those move. with those Broodlords as well, and this push is going to look very scary for Tarson. Now, we do want to see Nerchio just hold back, wait till those Broodlords come into play, and then engage that tank line, and really Tarson cannot do much at all against this. Finally, again, trying to come out with as many Vikings as possible, but here come those Corruptors to counteract those, and this is not going to be looking good right now for Tarson. Here we go, the Broodlord's moving down, and again, forcing the splash damage against his own units. Those tanks are goners. Fungal Growth in the bio as they try to target fire down those Broodlords, and see you later. Tarson's getting mopped up right now. He's going to be losing all of his army. He just doesn't have enough, and calling the GG. Alright, so there you go, guys. Nerchio did take this series. Again, it was a best of 5. Nerchio winning 3 games. Tarson only ended up winning 1 of the games, but still, you know, in this game, kudos goes to Nerchio hiding that Broodlord tech, and unfortunately for Tarson, not realizing that that was coming, he responded way too late with his Viking creation, and as a result, ended up losing the game because the Marine tank build certainly very strong, but once those Broodlords come into play, you really need the Vikings to counteract that. So great play between these two players. Hopefully you guys did enjoy this series. That about does it for today's videos. Stay tuned tomorrow for some additional videos, keeping up on that schedule. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching. Sorry for the lack of post-game recap here. I'm actually just about to head out. Just didn't have the time to do that. But thanks again, guys. If you like the content, please subscribe. Keep watching and keep owning.